Hello, this is the Awaken.
Babes. My name's Tyler, and this is my beautiful fiance Nancy. And today we want to talk a little bit about how to live a high.
Always a little bit about. Last time you said a little bit about, and then we made a 20 minutes video.
We want to talk just a little bit about how to have a high quality of life and not spend a lot of money. And we're here in the beautiful island of Bali, in the tropics, staying in a fantastic luxury villa. Which check out the video. I did a video tour of our place, and you can see how we live.
Yeah, so first I would say is I just give you idea how much we spend. I think me and Tyler we spend about £1,400 combined together, including paying for a three-bedroom villa and also scooter rentals and really high quality food, organic, and go out eat, entertainment like aesthetic
Massages
dancing,
too.
massages. We actually pay our massage ourselves, but um, most of the things that is really important to us. Yes, we're not really spending much money, so we spend about 625, 35 each. So it's really good. So one of the way to have a high quality of life with spending less is you needed to track what you're spending. Most people are afraid of tracking what they're spending. So when me and Tyler we first met, I'm like the good babes. I always excel the spending, like how much we spend, how much is budget. Tyler's the bad babes in the beginning. He did not looking at it. So what happened?
It didn't go well. Money was just burning in all the wrong places.
And also, you every time you're spending money, you get this fear around you, isn't it?
Like there's mosquitoes. Yeah, I would get this anxiety because I would just be spending money, and at the time I had no income, so I was just like visualizing my bank account draining, right? And I wasn't aware of how much I was spending and what direction it was going. So it just always felt like this tightness of contraction because I didn't have a budget, I didn't have anything. It was just like, so every time I would spend money, it felt shameful and painful because I was not paying attention to where it was going or how.
So if you're in a relationship, you're more likely to attract people who are opposite to you. For example, I'm a saver. I always saving money. So since the beginning, my business started to make money. I always have savings. I don't have debt rather than student loan. So I'm a saver. I'm very like to saving money, but I also like to buy things. So I'm both. But I would say Tyler is opposite to me, right?
Yeah, I don't have the best track record saving or investing. I tend to spend money as it comes in, and that worked great in my 20s. It was fun, but now it's time to do things differently.
But you also have like habits like overspending as well,
Mhm.
right? So what I'm trying to say is that if you're in the partner, if you're together, most likely a saver is dating a spender, or like you're gonna be very different. So you have to figure out a way to work together.
Mhm.
Otherwise, that's one of the reasons that people have a problem with their relationship, right? It's because their money is different.
Mhm.
So I would say focusing on each other's strengths,
Mhm.
right? So I'm really good at budgeting, so I'm taking care of the family budgeting naturally, and Tyler is learning from this process.
Mhm.
And Tyler is really good at spending things on high quality of stuff, for example. So I would like Tyler taking care of that bit. And another thing is that always asking for discount if you can.
So let's tap back in on the track your spending. And Nancy talked about this in the previous video. It's like look at your spending and see where you're spending your money, right? So you see what you're spending the most of your money on, and that will just show you what you care the most about. So for us, it's our home and our food. So we budget more money into our food, into our home, into going out to dinner. We really enjoy that. So we actually save money on buying clothes and shopping and doing all of that. But hey, if that's your thing, if you love shopping and buying new clothes, well, that's wonderful. But maybe you could then save some money on food, like wherever is less important to you is a good way to not just burn cash, right?
Another thing good about that is actually be aware when you're spending money, are you spending it because it makes you happy, or are you spending it to get approval from other people, right? This is a very important thing to pay attention on. So going back to in the beginning when you started to writing down how much you spend, you're gonna feel lots of anxiety. It's just like it's very normal. So also another thing I should know that I did not I was not born in a family who has a very good financial record. Okay, what actually hit me was 3 years ago when my stepdad and my mom divorced. They were in London. My mom, she actually accumulated lots of money in her life, and my stepdad had a business. So my family, I would say back then, was quite well off. But what's happening is that they never worked together as a team to really thinking about how to build a life together. So we end up only have one house in London. By the time they sold it, they each had about a few hundred K, and that was not really enough for people in their 60s in London. You can't even buy a house with it, to be honest with you. It's really not that much money. But I guess by watching her, the way she showed up in money, it really scared me. I was like, I needed to do something different about it. I don't want to be in my 60s that I can't even afford to live in a city I was living in. It doesn't sound very good to me for what I. So from that moment, I started to look at my finance and I started writing down what I spending on. In the beginning, it gave me lots of anxiety. Maybe sometimes I realized I overspend, or sometimes, yeah, it took me a few months to get over that anxiety. I think the first thing first is mindset. Forgive yourself if you have a debt. Forgive yourself you never recorded the money. Forgive yourself that you don't know how to manage money. I don't know how to manage money. I wasn't born in a family that parents educated me. But it's okay. We can educate ourselves now. And there's so many videos these days online like you can watch on how to manage money. But I think before people can learn how to manage money, the first thing we must do is mindset and forgive ourselves and be compassionate, right?
Yeah, it's such a trap to be afraid to face your money situation, especially if it's not what you want it to be. To not face it, because if you face it, you're then going to beat yourself up about it and feel shame and guilt. So you kind of ignore it, which only makes it get worse. You know, this was my story. Like I just kind of ignored it for the longest time. It only made matters worse. But you know, now I'm very aware of my situation. I look at my money. I face it every day, and I keep track of my expenses. And suddenly, it's not so scary, right? I think a big thing is, especially around money, there's this deep shame that a lot of people carry, especially from their family. And shame cannot exist when it's spoken about and shared. And
So what is your shame around money?
um, yeah, so, well, that's a really deep, deep thing
Since
there.
you said it's being spoken about, I was like,
Yeah, so I went to an event with Marissa Peer, and we did like a hypnosis where you go into your money story. You know, we all have this belief about money. Some people believe money is the source of all evil. Some people believe that only evil people have money, or that you have to do bad things to people in order to get money. Everyone has their different stories. And we did this hypnosis, and she took us back to 3 childhood memories, right? And whatever pops in your mind is an imprint of how you feel about yourself and money. So one memory that came up was I was in high school, or it was before high school, and I got invited to this amazing private school for really gifted, brilliant minds, and I was so excited. I really wanted to go because it was beautiful, like this beautiful opportunity for myself, really brilliant minds. It was like celebrating my intelligence. And I remember I shared this invitation with my family, and it was immediately cut down, and it was impossible, couldn't afford it. And then, but meanwhile, my parents would spend a lot of money on things like a brand new dock or a boat. So it wasn't that we weren't financially able, it was just that there was never a priority for my growth and development as a child. So I always carried this belief that I'm unworthy to have money. I'm not worth it. You know, it's not worth it for me to invest in myself. I shouldn't spend money on my own education or on my own growth. So I would instead blow my money on, you know, in my 20s on lots of alcohol and lots of just like party or short-term pleasures. I would never actually invest in myself because I never had a belief that I was worthy to spend money on, basically. So that was like a shame that I carried. And another memory was this memory flashed in my mind of my mom like cutting all her credit cards up and putting them in a Ziploc bag and stuffing in the freezer as she froze debt. And I think basically she consolidated her debt and put it into a new loan, something like that. And she was so excited. And
What's that mean,
basically she consolidated all of her high interest debt into a different loan. So she froze debt by physically putting it in the freezer. And for me, in my family, and I'm sure many of you feel the same way, in my family money was never talked about. It was like the most taboo topic of all topics to talk about. My family was like extremely didn't talk about sex, didn't talk about drugs or alcohol, parties, didn't talk about anything about growing up and development. Like my body growing up through puberty was like I taught myself to shave. Like there's never any kind of discussion ever about any of these things. And money for sure was like never, ever, ever even mentioned.
So my family is the opposite. My mom always asks me this question.
Where's the money? And so she says, where's the money?
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Which can be damaging in its own right. But so we all carry these beliefs about money, and it's 95% of it's imprinted from our parents. The rest is from our little bubble around us, like how our community and society and our close friends feel about money. But I would say almost 95% of it comes directly from our parents and our grandparents. So however your parents feel about money, whatever they taught you about money, whatever beliefs you hold in your head about money, it's most likely a lie because most people don't have a very positive money story. So that would be my biggest shame, was that I'm just unworthy. And so long as I held this belief about, so the topic of the video was how to live a good life on not a lot of money, but it seems we've kind of diverted into this, which is great. But so long as I had this belief that I was unworthy to invest in myself, my bank balance was always going to reflect that. No matter how hard I worked or how much money I earned, I would always come back to that certain level of money or lack thereof.
So what is very, very important here, which I wanted to share, is that lots of people, they try to avoiding money, especially in the spiritual world. So I see that lots of spiritual people try to avoiding money, thinking money is a problem. But money is not the problem. Like, just very be clear, because money is energy. Lots of people have this ideology, money is evil. I can tell you there's so many people who has money, they're doing very beautiful things for humanity. So money is not the problem. So your relationship with money is a direct reflection to yourself. Do you sabotage money? Are you overspending? Do you taking care of money, nurturing money? It's a direct reflection how much you love yourself, which is crazy, but it's the truth. Because I started observing my money is that I'm an overgiver. I like to give because sometimes I feel like there's nothing else I can give to another party rather than just overgiving myself. It's not only just show up in money, but money is one of the form I show up in. It's really about how I feel about myself. So if you have a lot of debt, if you how do I say, struggling with money right now, I think
if you're like a compulsive spender.
Yes, there's a very good signal for you to see that how much self-love you have within yourself about your money stories, right? So this video is about how to have high quality life and spending nice. And I know we kind of gone off the topic, but we're not off the topic because if you look at YouTube, you can find lots of resources about how to. But before how to, there's a gap you got to close, is your mindset. So as long as you cannot close your mindset and decided to changing something within yourself, no matter how much how to you do, you're gonna sabotage it. So it's very, very important to shift that. So I guess Tyler is a very good one to speak about this. How you made a decision to have lots of abundance and money now, which is something you want to share?
Yeah. So in my family, there's always this mentality of do everything yourself, right? Work really hard, take on all the tasks, and work super hard, and you'll be rewarded by the government or whatever. And so for me, I have to like break away from the approval of my father in order to go after wealth and success. And it's really challenging, or it was. I've navigated this now, to actually let that go, because it's like to pursue something different, which is actually really frowned upon. My father's always frowned upon people that leverage other people, which if you study any of the really successful people in life, they say the number one thing to do is leverage people, right? Leverage other people's time. But my father's the one that gets leveraged, so he doesn't quite like that. So I had to really break this down, because I've had this deep-seated belief that I need to do everything myself. Like, I can do it myself. Like, there's like this sense of pride in doing it yourself. So that was the first thing I had to really break down and let go, and then also detach from the approval of my father, right? Because he's not going to like it if I leverage everybody else and make a lot of money doing it. He won't like that. And the little boy in me, the approval-seeking child in me, well, he doesn't want that either. He wants his parents to give him approval and give him survival, basically. It goes really deep. So I've had to make a very conscious, clear decision that I don't want that life of working really hard and doing everything myself, but I instead actually want a lot of wealth, and I want a lot of success. And there's actually no guilt in that. There's a lot of guilt here. There's actually no guilt in wanting to have a lot of wealth. Really, money's an amplifier. Money's energy. Money gives you more time, essentially. It doesn't actually give you more time, but in a sense it does. It compresses the time that you have between things, and you can do more with your life. You can do more to help other people too. Like, money just allows you to do more, and I like to do a lot of things. So to me, money's great.
Money doesn't buy happiness. It's true, but the things sometimes we like to do need money. Like to travel, for example, like to eat nice food. The certain things need money. I think it's very crazy to deny money, especially in the spiritual community. The reason I'm keep saying this spiritual community is because it took me about 2 years to come out of it. Before that was like business, and then I become 2 years. I don't need anything, and then now I'm like, it's a balance. I'm just using. For me, I'm actually using money as a spiritual practice. For me to see where can I love myself more, or where I am not loving myself enough, where I am overgiving, where I'm not taking care of myself. So for me, I'm using it as a spiritual practice, and it's been really good. I can see that I met lots of people in my life who has lots of money.
Got 'em, baby.
Who has lots of money, and who work really, really hard, but you can see lots of this money they getting is seeking for approval. I was like that too. But you can also see some people have this extremely sabotaging behaviors. For example, they would go do crazy things and sabotaging the money. So that is actually reflections of how much hate they have within themselves, towards themselves. And we're all humans. There's no shame in that. I mean, we will feel shame. Even I said no shame in that, we will feel it, but it's okay to feel it. It's okay to feel guilty. It's okay to feel shit about yourself. It's okay to feel low self-confidence, that you needed to have money to make yourself feel better. And I'm killing lots of mosquitoes because I get bite a lot. So I guess if your relationship with money is not healthy, it means that your relationship with yourself is not healthy. It's just a way for you to see yourself, really. Talk again about the spiritual world, is that in the spirituality world, some people denying money because they say lots of rich people made money by being evil. I can't agree with them, because I think lots of people who actually made money, not because it's just these evil people, but sometimes it's because they are contributing more to the society. Like say Amazon, I know some of my spiritual friends don't like Amazon at all. But if you have to look at the other side of it, is how much is Amazon contributing to people, how much convenience it creates, how many books we can read now.
How many jobs they provide too.
So to say this is the evil is, I think this is the cause of all human suffering. We cannot accept dualities, right? There's always two sides of the coins. So it's very important that we learn to accepting different people's reality and dualities of things. I think when the spiritual community, people who says money is all evil, I would say they haven't facing that shadow within themselves, because some of people secretly would try to win a lottery or doing other stuff, right? If they really think the money is all evil, why would they actually try to win a lottery, for example? So it's very, very important to not deny yourself and not deny the shadow of yourself. And everybody has shadows. You know, we're going to talk a lot about our shadows. And I feel this is how we can come together as a humanity, is I should talk about our shame and shadow and triggers, our darkness, because then you start to feel you're not alone. That's why I really like a holistic psychologist. I was watching one of her videos. She talks about she cut her parents off completely for a year now, and she felt guilt. You know, I haven't spoken to my mom for a while now, and you know, but I feel when she talked about that, I wasn't learning something as a skill from her. I was more feel like I'm not alone in this journey. So our channel is probably gonna be a lot more focusing on mindset rather than just the strategy. I think you can find lots of strategy yourself on YouTube already, which I will cover some strategies when it comes to it. But I believe that 80% of the work is here and here. So once you can line this within yourself, all the how-to is very, very easy. So I guess I'm gonna give 2 tips on how to live high quality life with less money. The first thing is that you must set up a standard for yourself. I'll give you one example. I know that I wanted to live in a really nice villa and home with Tyler. So what I did was, instead of me, and our budget was £1,000 a month on Airbnb in Cape Town, there was like nothing, okay? Like most of studios, like £20-30 a night. We're talking about £20 a night. So when we first went to Cape Town, we rented this one studio. It was like £30, £40 a night. The next time we rent somewhere, it was £1,000, but it was like with the pool, it's amazing. Normally it's £4,000. So how did I do it? The first thing come to my head is I have a very high standard on where I wanted to live, what I want. So instead of me going to searching for £30, what I can afford, I searched for what I wanted to have, where I wanted to live. I know it's crazy, and it got up to 4,000, 5,000.
She's found us some of these villas, you guys, and homes that we've stayed in are like mansions, like so incredible, but we've never really broken our budget. We've never broken beyond what our limits are. And by her being with this high standard, it takes a little work, of course. You know, you do have to hustle to make it happen. But she's gotten us these insane deals, like you wouldn't believe. So I'm so impressed by her ability to negotiate and keep that standard no matter what. And on that, part of it is you have to be willing to lose it, right? That's the number one thing about negotiation. You have to be willing to lose it. So she just puts that offer there, and then this. And I don't think we've actually ever lost anything, have we? That you've really wanted, and you put that number in, and we haven't gotten it. They say no.
No.
Not once.
Like, that's the thing, like even in Cape Town, the villa was like £4,000 a month, so our budget was £1,000. And I just really, really like it. And I was like, I'm just gonna ask. You said, I don't want to sound rude, but this is my budget. Can we do this or not? So one of the trick I have for you is actually set up your standard. You know, if you don't want to live in studio, don't live in the studio. Set up your standard. It says, I wanted to leave this because this gives you energy and drive. And great, approaching them and negotiate and ask them, can they come give you a discount? And always, there's another trick on Airbnb is actually booking for longer term, because the host like to cover a period of time instead of like just few nights. So if you can do 1 month, it's always cheaper. 1 month travel is a lot cheaper actually than 1 week travel. That's what I realized. So that's really, really important. I think thirdly, what important is that maybe try to not go at all the summer holidays, school holidays. Try to go into that gap. Then because they're low season, they're willing to negotiate with you better too. So this is a couple of things I found it useful. I didn't intentionally doing it when I was there, but I found out that actually every time I was quite lucky about it. It's also because I was able to go at the low season as well. But I think first you need to raise your standard, because if you don't raise your standard, I want to ask you a question. Before you met me, you never even tried to approaching these villas, right?
No, I would look at it and just immediately sticker shock of the price and just keep going.
But before you were in Cape Town, you were renting this 1 bedroom, how much? A one room.
Yeah, I was renting a private room.
For how much? 20 pounds?
It was about 20 pounds, like 600 pounds a month. A private room, right?
We were paying 1,000 pounds
for two houses.
Two
basically.
houses with pool.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
you didn't even go try this villa, did you?
No.
Why not?
Well, this goes into your money story and what you're worth also.
So that's why you got to raise your standard. Once you raise your standard, you're gonna try to find a way to meet your own standard. So this is one thing. Second thing that, like Tyler said earlier, is you need to look at where you're spending your what is important to you, right? So for us, it's the home, because we spend so much time at home, and the second thing is the food. We like to eat a lot together. So that is including eating at home and eating out. This is something we don't compromise. So we put most of our money in these two categories. And the thing that we don't really care, which is clothes and things, we don't really spend much money on. So you need to prioritize what is the most important thing for you. Number 3 is actually Tim Ferriss talk about in the 4-hour workbook, which is quite interesting, is if you can go live in other country that have a high quality life with less money, is actually better for you, because your money is going to worth more. So give you one example, the quality life we have in Bali is so much more than the quality life we had in London. We were living in a 2-bedroom, 3 small flat. We were buying a supermarket, but we spent at least double or more.
I'll give you one small example. I found like these mangoes in London, £3 each for one mango. And it was a good mango, but it wasn't like exceptional. Here in Bali, we're eating pork that they feed the mangoes to the pigs because they're so abundant. And a kilogram of mangoes is like 50p, £1, something like that. So it's so different, the prices. To tie it in, it's like, well, what's most important to you? And if most important to you, like to us, is food and home, well, we can get a really nice home, really nice food here in Bali.
For like 40% money we were spending before. And also, to be honest, the food is better quality as well, because like yesterday, I paid £7. I had 2 massive bag of vegetables, which I bought directly from the farmers, and it was freshly harvested yesterday morning, and it was £7. I don't know how much that would cost me in London, maybe 40, 50 pounds at least. And yeah, and also I'm paying directly to the farmer. I feel really good about it too. And also it was freshly harvested. I never think I had freshly harvested vegetables in my life. So
it's all relative, so if your salary, say, is 100K in London, if you can work remotely and earn, say, 25K a year, but you're spending only 25% of what you spent in London, you're actually making the same amount of money.
Yeah, so go to another country that actually have a lower cost of living but high quality of life. But that's the thing, again, it's up to individual. If your family may don't want to able to move, but it's up to you, right? How you wanted to do this. But we're just sharing with you our experiences and how we choosing was the reason we choose Bali is 3 things. We want a big space, we want nature, we wanted to have high quality food, we love spiritual community. So this is the reason we're choosing here. So you have to think about what is the most important thing for you to go to another places, I guess. I think that's pretty much it for now.
Yeah.
Right, thank you.
If you like it, you want to follow our journey, subscribe.
And smack that like button.
Smack it. Smack it like your mama.